Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or not ready to be sober, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense, and we've even thrown in some paranormal stuff lately. My name is Shawn, and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow Trudgers. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you may get your podcasts. Videos of us will be posted each week, so you can watch those episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe and smash that like button. Right, Corey? Smash it. On all social media outlets with the handle @Trudge Report Pod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and the wonderful, talented Miss Janine Stella, our producer and editor. Gentlemen, welcome back. It's good to be here. How we doing? Happy Monday.
Indeed.
Just the three of us, the Trudge Trio, as it's effectively been called by many hundreds of our fans, the Trudge Trio when one of us is missing. Yes, Greg, indeed. How are you? We always go to you first, Greg. Let's not change it up now.
I'm doing all right, man. We're football is back. So I'm happy. The Cleveland Browns, in the most Cleveland Browns fashion ever, allowed a grand total of 7 net yards in the second half of a tight game and still lost. So we're starting the season off strong. We're ready to rock and roll. I will say the silver lining in all of it is, I don't want to speak too soon, watch him come back and beat me, but Corey is currently losing to yours truly in our fantasy league by approximately 8 points. So
no surprise there.
We'll see what happens. But other than that,
it is kind of early in the fantasy football season, Greg.
It is. But I'm just this matchup, this week one.
Got it.
Duel of the Titans.
Not over yet because of tonight's game. Got it.
Correct. But other than that, life is going pretty good. Life is getting lifey, but we're doing okay. I will say one cool thing I did this weekend. My fiance and I took her son to go see the Hot Wheels monster trucks down in downtown Cleveland. Thought it was going to be like whatever. I felt like a kid all over again. I got to see Bigfoot. You know, you guys remember Bigfoot from when you were kids?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So that was pretty epic. Fun time.
Very cool. I thought you were going to say you took him to go see the new Conjuring movie. I was going to say, geez, dude.
Well, I will say this. He's making steps in the right direction. He has now seen 4 of the 5 Indiana Jones films. He's really on it, and now he wants to be an archaeologist when he grows up.
I love Indiana Jones. I think that's a little different than the Conjuring films. At 8 years old? Is he 8, 7, 8?
Yeah, he's 8. Yeah. A little bit more adult though than you remember. You remember Temple?
No. I don't disagree with that. I feel like the adult stuff is okay. I feel like it's the evil spirits are going to get you when you sleep. Yeah, that's not great for an 8-year-old.
We can kill and punch out as many Nazis as you want.
Exactly.
With the glorious Shawn Connery.
Exactly.
But,
he is glorious.
Yeah.
I used to love those movies growing up. Big time.
Man, dude. It's just classics. Absolute classics.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Corey, how are you? Week 1, you survived.
Yeah. So anyway, I watched the entire Conjuring universe while I was working last week, and the kids came home from school, and if they came in the bedroom and they're like, "Daddy, that's scary," and I'm like, "Then get out if you can't handle it." Okay. What's this, Dad? I'm like, "It's Annabelle."
Oh, you want one?
Yeah,
Lucy?
Seriously.
Huh? I'll get you one.
God's sakes. I went and saw the new Conjuring, and
Thoughts?
It was a good movie. So you haven't seen it yet, right, Greg?
No, I've not.
All right. Well, so this is the best way I can put it. It was either third or fourth worst of the Conjuring movies, not the universe, but the movies, the Conjuring, anything with Conjuring in the title, right? However, it was still a good movie. Like I would recommend, like, you don't have to wait for it to come out. you could go to theaters. I would support you spending the money to go see it.
I'm a theater guy. As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, this is so dorky, but I have a Cinemark movie club membership, so I get
Oh, yeah,
free
dude.
tickets that accumulate. They never expire. They just accumulate.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
yeah,
That's really
so
cool.
odds are it
I
might
like
be
that.
free.
I would go see it if I were you, man. I mean, I did go see it, so. But you know what? I will say, shout out to our recent guest here on the podcast, Chris McKinnell. Some of it was a little hard to watch, knowing the truth of things.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You'll see when you see it. They buttoned it up in a certain way, and if you didn't know, Chris,
Now you know.
go ahead, say it. Say it. I almost called you a P word right here on the podcast. If you didn't know him, it would probably be like a beautiful type ending and stuff, but it's like, it's like, oh, well, they Hollywooded it up. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but it was a good movie. It was good, and I'm sad to see it end.
Were our two favorite stars just as good in it as they've been in all the other ones?
Yeah.
Who
There
are
you
the
go.
stars of those movies? Like, are they the
Patrick
same?
Wilson and
And-
Vera Farmiga, I believe is how you pronounce her name.
That's correct. Yeah, they're
Nice.
great, dude. And I love Patrick Wilson in Insidious too. Like he's just such a good horror guy.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
Did our guest Chris make an appearance in the film as was he acted out by anybody, or was he conveniently left out of the story?
No, so I'll tell you this because it's not really a spoiler. His mother, Judy Spera, and her second husband make a cameo appearance.
What
early
happened
on.
to the first husband? That's what I want to know.
You could ask Chris. You missed that
I want to know
opportunity.
what happened to the first husband.
But they act as if there was no first husband. That's the thing.
He got banished to Narnia.
The whole timeline is completely different than reality.
Yeah,
It's a money grab. Chris said it was a money grab, guys.
Yeah.
Money
Oh,
grab.
dude. Yeah, I won't even go into that, but yeah. So other than that, yeah, Eagles won week 1. No one's surprised. So great.
Good stuff. Yeah.
How are you, Shawn?
I'm good, man. I'm good. The baby's good. I can hear him out there. If you hear any lullaby music, he's in his little like play mat thing with all the toys and stuff, and it's in the room right next to mine. I was just had to text Catherine to have her turn it down just a notch. So if you hear any of that music, apologies, but he's doing great. We've settled into a good new routine, but routine, back to a lot of our old stuff, but a lot of new stuff in there as well. He's healthy. He's doing great. I'm good. Works good. The Redskins won in pretty convincing fashion. I know we didn't play a juggernaut of a team, but our defense looked great. Couple of those, want to clean it up a little more in the red zone. We had a lot more chances to score than we actually did, but still a great first week. Can't hate nothing about it. Last night was wildly entertaining. It wasn't the vibes in my household at the very end was not the greatest. I'm not even sure I said goodnight to my wife.
Know.
I just quietly went off to bed. It was
Can you please inform
icy.
us? Can you please inform us how that works when you're sitting there all fucking, oh, this is great football, and your wife's team is just getting smacked around in the last 4 minutes?
Dude, it was. You could feel it coming, unfortunately. And I was trying to be so optimistic and so hopeful. Like, no, it's okay, babe. It's okay. Don't worry. Like, It's good. Like, don't worry. Look, they missed a 2-point conversion. It's good. And like, they missed that last 2-point conversion. And I just was like, oh shit, there's still so much time left.
Yeah.
And this is the time that the Ravens are going to go 4 and out. Like it's going to happen. It just is going to happen. It was tough. It was like, well, I felt, here's the funny thing. And I've said this before. And first off, I love all of my Humphreys people, all the Humphreys in the world. I love you dearly. I mean this as no slight. I promise, for the few of you that may still listen to this podcast. We have a family group thread with like 15 of us in there. A couple of the in-laws, like myself, Kyle's wife, Katie, so it's not all just Humphreys or ex-Humphreys. It's a lot of us. That thing goes off at all times of the day. Baby pictures, kid pictures, funny this, funny that. Like it's just always somebody's always texting in it. That MFR was so silent today. It's not even funny. Not a peep from anyone. So my thoughts, T's and P's to all my Humphreys people. It sucks for me because, as everybody knows, the Ravens are my second favorite team, but I also do like the Bills. I've been on this podcast. They're my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year. I do like them, and what a great game. But man, it was King Henry dropping that ball.
It's the potential to be like game of the season, and it's week 1. You know what I'm saying?
So,
but if it went to overtime, it would be for sure.
Yeah,
good.
You know, both knocks on those quarterbacks kind of played out. You know, it was just Josh Allen got there. You know, because it was like Josh Allen is like that too little, too late kind of guy, and Lamar has the tendency.
Lamar played so
moments,
good last
man.
night. I need a little bit more out of you those last 2 drives though, because they went 4 and out the previous one too. I need a little, and then excuse me, the previous one was the fumble I think, and they either went 4 and out, fumble 4 and out, or fumble 4 and out, 4 and out. But regardless, I need a little more out of that. I need a little more out of that in those last couple drives. That's just.
Is it just me? Or is this a hot take, guys, that like I don't think you should be allowed to run the clock down and then win the freaking game with a field goal? Like it happened to us.
I think that's gamesmanship. I think that's perfect clock management. I mean, they still had to get a couple first downs. It wasn't like they could just run it out. Like they made the plays, dude.
See, I think it'd be more entertaining if the rule was no, you got to try to score. Like you can't just
with like 30 seconds left or whatever.
Yeah, so the other team gets the ball and you better stop them.
Yeah.
You know.
But I will say this: it does speak to the, I guess, genius of coaching.
Yes, that's what I mean.
And granted, like you've got your main coordinators on the sidelines, you got your head coach on the sidelines, but then you got the guys up in the box. You know what I'm saying? And like all those guys come together to make those decisions on the fly. On the fly. Yes, sure. There's like a dedicated game plan, but number one, in today's NFL, you have to adjust that at all times. You know, and number two, like, you know, it's not always as easy as like, let's run it down and kick the game winner, you know?
It does take a certain skill set to be able to get it to that point. I agree 100%. Here's my thing, and we can move on from this because we're not making this about football tonight. I promise to all our fans, but 4th and 3 with 1:30 left. You punt it or go for it. In that situation, the way that game has gone, neither defense was stopping anyone.
If you're what team?
Either team, but in this case, the Ravens, because that's what happened. Neither
were they
defense,
down at that point or no?
The last drive, they were 4th down and 3 yards.
No, I'm saying what was the score at that point? They were still up 2 points.
They were still up by 2.
Yeah,
go for it.
Got to go for it. Your defense has not. I understand you'd be giving them great field position, but you haven't stopped them all night, and they haven't stopped you.
Well,
let your offense do its thing.
And when you've got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, yes, you're 4th and 3. You go for it.
Yeah,
got to, dude. He had 177 yards last night, Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
I couldn't wait, Corey, to throw up his running stats against Saquon Barkley's, and but then it didn't matter because he dropped the damn ball. So
as if I'm worried anyway.
I'm just saying. I think he had yardage wise, he had a way better first night, all clouded by the fumble, which washes it all away.
Both of those dudes are just absolute freaks.
Washes it all away.
You guys didn't respond to me when I said that the Ravens were the AFC Eagles, because I know you guys probably rolled your eyes and said Corey doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
We absolutely did.
But do you see the similarities that I'm drawing though? We have 2 quarterbacks that are great on their legs, right? And then the best 2 running backs in the league. What?
You want to know the difference, Corey? I disagree.
One has a ring.
Statement.
One has a ring. Is that right? Okay.
Yes, you guys win. You do.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we can move on now. I didn't know.
You guys win. I
wasn't prepared for that.
It's like, Greg, it's like he has selective listening. We've never argued the fact that the Eagles don't win.
Yeah.
Never.
And that's the biggest knock on Lamar, man. And
even Josh Allen,
that he chokes he chokes in the big moments, man.
Right.
I'm rooting for the Ravens in the AFC this year. I want to see the Ravens in the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
Well, on behalf of the entire Humphreys family, we appreciate that.
I know. I just got some new fans here on this podcast.
Yeah. So, all right, boys, let's get into it. Just 3 of us tonight. I think this is going to be a great topic, great conversation. boys, we're going to talk about God. Plain and simple, we're going to talk about God. Maybe not in the traditional sense that a lot of times we do, or a lot of other podcasts or conversations do. But I've got some questions. I've sent you all the questions a few days in advance, and I do think it's going to be some good thought provoking questions. So with that, and I'll give my take on it too. But just trying something different, trying to really get back to the recovery stuff. As we've said earlier, we have gotten away from it the last few weeks, which was somewhat by design with the Chris McKinnell episodes, and then the other week we got stuck in the mud talking about football all week, which we know is not the cup of tea for every one of our listeners, but we all certainly do enjoy it. So, okay. So the first question is it's not really much of a thinker. I'm just going to throw it out there to get the juices flowing, and we'll go from there. The other questions are a little more intricate and are going to provide some thoughts. So first question, is there a higher power or universal consciousness? Does God exist? Corey?
Yes, Shawn. He
That's
does.
good. Greg, what do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've obviously seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in both of your lives.
Yes.
And I do like the second part of that when we talk about like universal consciousness, because that's always something that's intrigued me, is the fact that no matter how separated we are as a human race, we can we think along some of the same planes. We act along
Right.
some of the same planes, and sometimes
We come together in moments of tragedy.
Yes. We're some of the only animals or beings on the planet that do so, right? So
Yeah.
I believe that we are all connected somehow. I don't know how. I don't presume to know how. I hope I never really know the true answer of that. I just can kind of revel in the beauty of it.
That's going to be the fun part about these questions, I think, is how undefinable this God is. And we're going to sit here and put things into words when we really can't put it all in the words.
Right. Words can
But
kind of screw it up.
and the reason I say that is because what Greg just said, like, I almost feel, I've always, not always, but I kind of feel that, like, we are all a piece of that God or that universal thing. You know what I mean? Like, quite literally.
The Bible would call us the fingertips of God. Right? The hand controls the fingertips and the fingers, right? And which I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed that concept. As a matter of fact, I was posting the clips today from episode 2, and the Chris McKinnell clip when he's describing what God is to him, and he says he has the two analogies that God is a weaver, like a basket weaver, and then God is the blacksmith as well. I loved both of those analogies. I thought they were fantastic. You know. The blacksmith just ironing us out in the fire, just pounding us out, molding us, getting us ready for whatever the finished product is. And I guess that's the beautiful thing about it, is what does the finished product mean, which kind of leads into the next couple questions about like death and the afterlife. So I 100% believe in God. First and foremost, like, not even a question. I believe that there is one God, but that God is powerful enough and creative enough, and fluid enough, even permeable enough, that he can reveal himself to each individual person on this planet in their own special way, to where each of us can have our own concept or perception of him. And mine and Corey's perception of God may be completely different. Corey might call him God. I might call her something else, right? I think that's that's truly the beautiful thing about it. And I am not here to say you have to believe the way I believe or Greg believes or any of us, because as a matter of fact, I would encourage you not to believe the way we believe. I would encourage each individual to consult their own conscience and find a God that is personal to them. But I do believe that there is one power that has all power, that is just that kick-ass enough to reveal himself to us and all other nations and races and creeds and colors and religions and non-religions and all that stuff. So that being said, death and the afterlife. What do we, Corey, what happens to us when we die, dude? Do we just materialize like Obi-Wan Kenobi? And
Ooh.
if we do, does our spirit still go somewhere? Are you up in heaven, whatever heaven means, playing, with all your legend rock and roll stars? Is that what heaven is? Like talk to me, dude. What do you think?
I don't know. That's what freaks me out, Sean.
Yeah.
I I'm pretty sure I've lost sleep over that whole thing, but oddly enough, ever since that whole weird blood work thing that I went through, for no reason because my blood work's fine for the most part, I have not like obsessed about dying. Like, just for our listeners, little background. I went through a crisis.
He
Possibly.
thought he was dying for about a
Well,
week.
yeah, kind of. But anyway, I don't know. That's the scary thing. Like you mentioned, like how Chris talked about how we're just like a thread, right? In the whole fabric of
Yep.
the weaving, and it's like, it's weird because like I want to be the finished product, dude. What do you mean? Like it has to end with me. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's just weird to think that like we're not going to be here. I was just talking about this with Gabby actually, how like we're not going to be here one day, and then even more so that one day there's going to be nobody alive that remembers us. Like it's just nobody gets out alive, right? We've had a podcast titled that before.
Yeah.
The question of like the afterlife though, like all I can really hang my hat on is I think that and this is very vague and broad and roomy, but I think we just go to be with that perfect God. Like, I don't know if it's like as like visually, if it's like, like walking into the hall or something and there's Shawn and Greg and go sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, or
Greg's trying to hide behind a light, very skinny light pole.
Like, Greg, this is heaven. You don't have to do that here, bud.
Yeah, it's
You're not suffering.
Of light.
I don't know if it's like that, but I think like I said, like if we're a piece of God, I think we just get connected back like permanently. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So before I kick to you, I'll pose this question. I'll pose the question within the question: death, afterlife, all that stuff. The finished product. Are we the finished product at the end of our physical lives? Or are we not the finished product until we actually get to the afterlife?
I mean, I think our death could possibly have more, ripple effects after we're gone. So, no, I don't think we're the finished product.
Nice.
God knows, man. That's the big question, right?
He does. What do you think, Greg? Just all of it.
I have a tendency to believe more in reincarnation, man. And
yeah,
just
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
You guys are blasphemous.
We are, and that's not to say that I don't believe in some sort of heaven, but we've talked about, just amongst us boys, not on this podcast, but we've talked about and we've read certain literature that says that heaven is right here on earth, and it's just up to us to live it, right? And turn our thoughts and our actions towards God every day, and we will live in heaven. And I'm not there just yet, but I have had certainly had glimpses of it, and lived many days in that light. Sometimes we stray from it a little bit. Sometimes we have some days are better than others. However, if we fall back on the scientific approach of it all, the energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Matter can neither be created nor destroyed. There's a finite amount of energy in this universe, right? So it has to go somewhere, right? We know that our bodies return to the dust, right? From whence we came. But where does our energy go?
Wind.
Yeah, dust in the wind, baby. But where does the energy go, right? Because obviously we all have energy within us. It's part of kind of like that universal consciousness too. It's not just the energy that physically runs our body, but our spiritual energy, right? And we all have it. And If you don't believe me or haven't experienced it, then just go get in a really good meditation session and tell me that spiritual energy doesn't exist within yourself. Um, I gotta believe that it goes somewhere, and whether or not that's in into new life, or redistributed somehow within the universe. I would say that, I can. There's times where, a seemingly random stranger will do something, or have an action or something like that. And it reminds me of my grandmother, and it's like, so maybe that's not my grandmother reincarnated, but what if that energy is just out here in the ether, as they say. So
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to it, but that's kind of where I lean.
Yeah, I'm with you on a lot of that. The gentleman you referenced of some of the literature we read, by a man named Emmett Fox, which we've talked about plenty. I'm sure there's other literature too, but we've talked about him plenty on this, and we've talked a lot about his Sermon on the Mount book and his daily meditation, daily reader book. But he's got some other literature out there that possibly more fascinating than the books we've talked about and the more known books, but he buys into this. He kind of purports this idea of reincarnation, and not exactly the same as like other, maybe Eastern religions do and stuff like that. But his idea is that we do come back. We might live many physical lives, right, in our one spirit soul life. But he poses that we come back because we are not the finished product yet, and we have more to learn, and we can't really go to heaven until we've learned everything that God wants us to learn, that there is to learn. And until we do that, we might come back a rich man, a poor man. I think I was a knight of the round table at one point. I'm sure of it. Totally positive about that.
You
Maybe an
were
animal,
Abraham Lincoln, dude.
maybe that too. But like, and I find that fascinating. And he talks about like, so there's the term the silver cord, right? It's in the Bible, it's in metaphysics and esoteric work, but essentially, and here I'll read the definition, one of the definitions, just so I don't butcher it. But some esoteric interpretations see the silver cord as the energetic connection between the physical body and the spirit, or the soul, and its severance, meaning the severance of the silver cord, um, marks the departure of the spirit from the body. So in this term of reincarnation, when we die, our physical bodies die, the silver cord is severed. I like to think maybe we do go up to heaven for a little bit, get a cup of coffee, get some relaxation, talk to a few saints, and then God's kind of like, all right, hey, got more to learn. There's more to go. Sending you back, right? I say that somewhat in jest, but like, I don't know. To me, that's extremely fascinating, and I know that that doesn't fall in line with maybe some traditional beliefs of people, but guess what, that's okay, because it's my belief system and nobody else can have it. I'll share it with anybody who wants to listen, um, but it's my own personal belief system, and I love that. Um, so that idea that like, hey, there's just still more to learn, and one of the biggest things for us in our recovery is like always remain teachable, right? There's always more to learn, there's always more to go. So I will say this, and I've shared this with you guys. I used to think that I was totally okay with death. Like, hey, you know what? I'm sober now. I've made my, my amends for the most part. Like, I'm living a good life. I have been for many years. Like if God wants to take me, you know, I hope I don't go anytime soon, but if he wants to take me, like I'm good with it. I'm at peace with it. And then September 2021 rolled around, and my ass was in the hospital for 9 days with double pneumonia and COVID, and on all the breathing treatments, as you guys remember. And I quickly realized, like, I'm okay with your death. I'm okay with other people's mortality. I am not ready to die. And I was so scared and so in fear. And it was a really good point for me to be, even though I was in fear, like coming out of it, I realized like that it's okay to be that way. Um, but that I just had, a lot more to go and a lot, I didn't continue my spiritual development, but I'll never forget that. Like, I'm okay with other people's mortality. I can be at peace when somebody else dies because God was just needed another angel and they were going home to heaven where there's no more pain and suffering. I was not okay with my own mortality. So I thought that was fascinating.
Mhm.
Two things, Shawn, on the subject of death that I hope for, genuinely. One thing is I hope that either A, we get so damn spiritual in this life that when it comes time, like, we are fully ready to just cross over. Or I hope that I get so damn old that I'm just tired of being here, to be honest. Because I think that's a thing too. But the other thing, speaking of Emmett Fox, something that helped me a lot recently, when my buddy passed away, was a quote. I don't know where it is, but I know it's in the daily meditation book because that's where I saw it right around that time, I think. And this is only part of it, but it says, "Will you meet your relatives and friends when you go over? Where there is a strong emotional link, either of love or hatred, there is likely to be a meeting.
Yep.
Where there is a strong link of genuine love, there is sure to be a meeting." So I like that, and I do hope it makes me sad to think of any other scenario
I love that.
on the other side that we are not with the ones that we truly love in some capacity. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that Corey, that kind of brings it in. Like, I had this other question of like, is there a heaven, or what does heaven mean to us? And we've kind of combined those two and talked about those two, but you're right. Emmett Fox talks a lot about that.
Yeah.
And I remember that reading, how like heaven is kind of what we make of it right here now. And Greg, you alluded to this too.
Mhm.
Thy kingdom come is not like, oh, one of these days we're going to get to the kingdom. No, thy kingdom come is like, it's like, yo, we need to be presenting the kingdom of God to other individuals while we're on this earth. And that whole idea of, if we haven't learned our lesson, right? If there's still more to learn and we do get reincarnated, we are sure going to meet the asshole that we don't like in this current life. We're going to meet them again, and again and again and again, and vice versa. We're going to run into our loved ones, whether they're in a different form or not, who knows, but we're going to run into those people where there's that strong positive connection to love. And so I think that's a really good kind of kick in the ass to try to get to a point where there isn't anyone that we despise and don't really want to see. Yeah, there might be people that we would rather be around than others, for sure. I can't, I can only handle Corey a couple hours a week, if we're being honest with each other. But I kid, but I think that's really important, right? Try to make peace with all those relationships in my life, whether they're people I see often or not that much at all. Become okay with being with them and around them and associated with them.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that was pretty heavy. I got the next ones are a little more practical and logistical. So, what daily practices, and Greg, we'll kick this to you first. We'll just go back and forth. What daily practices or activities bring you closer to God, or simply just bring you a sense of calmness and peace? And that can be as basic or as widespread as you want.
Certainly,
Our producer said sex. Thank you, Janine. I agree with that. I do agree.
cannot deny.
Cannot deny.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, obviously the prayer, meditation, are the big ones, but music, there's honestly times like after a tough day or something like that, I got a 40-minute drive home from work, and sometimes silence, just to sit in the silence, to breathe deep, to take an inventory in my head of my day, and just kind of see how I could have done things better, is important. And to me, I believe that's God, right? Because certainly me on my own, and over a decade ago, certainly not is that what's going to occupy my thoughts, right? But like, just those thoughts of, what could I have done better? How could I be a better man? How could I be a better fiance? How could I be a better role model? How could all those things that's God right there working in your life, because the normal, I don't know if you want to call it normal, but the standard human weakness nowadays seems to be to stray towards the selfishness, right? Why?
Right.
And I think that's just natural. Why is this going wrong for me? Why is this? Why is that? And, instead we flip that. Flip that on its head, and what can I do to be better? Take a look at yourself, and kind of put that into play and put your whole life into perspective that way. So
I love it. Corey, what about you? Do you mean to read the question again?
No, basically what brings us closer to God, right?
What daily
activities.
practices or activities specifically bring you closer to God, or
I,
just a sense of calmness and peace?
yeah. Well, I've been asking you that for years, and you just won't tell me. So I
No
guess I'll
human
just
powers,
continue
brother. No human powers.
I'll continue to suffer, Shawn. Um, well, like Greg said, like, obviously, like prayer medication, medication brings you closer to
Ooh,
God, boys.
what do we got?
Prayer and meditation. But
Very funny, Corey.
yeah, that was
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
all I got is oil of oregano right now. So
You can't snort it.
no, but I mean the actual first thing that comes to mind that I've been actually thinking about a lot recently is, if I want to be close to God, I think I also have to be close to his children. And I've always had, even though I act like I despise most of you, I've always had a good host of friends and a good fellowship, at least since I got sober.
Mm-hmm.
And and we could have a whole second episode tonight if we wanted to on what binds us together, as alcoholics and drug addicts, and as people that have found a common solution. But man, I forget sometimes when I get away from you guys long enough how, like, truly I value that. And not just you guys specifically, but like if I get out an extra night or two a week to go to some recovery events and stuff like that, like I get reminded that even if it's even the people that I don't know as well as I know, like you two, for instance, that I need to be around. I need to be around people, and there's like a more surface level benefit to that, like just getting outside and touching grass kind of deal.
Yeah.
But like on a deeper note, it just keeps me connected with other people that are kind of going in the same direction. Like, even if, barring sobriety, like us as a human race, most of us are just trying to figure it the hell out, right? You know what I mean? And we're all heading to the same destination. So it's just good to like get linked up with people and truly, lastly, I guess, like I said, like we've got to get close to God's children. And I think it's been said that God speaks at 90 degrees or whatever, like through you to me. Right? Is that how they say it? Would you? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard that. 90 degrees.
Yeah,
I like
90
that.
degrees down
That's pretty
and
cool.
to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that shit, Shawn?
That's
You
pretty good.
You like how I'm teaching you how to stay sober?
Can I quote you
All
in a
right.
meeting? Can I quote you?
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You should. And not just for the dumb shit I say too. Sometimes he puts me on blast.
It's fun.
But yeah, but like I need to be talking to people, because I will hear, I believe I will hear the word of God sometimes. Sometimes it's going to be Kyle Fiskus just saying something stupid to me, but other times it's going to be something that I need to hear, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I would. I think you guys know me, and Corey. This is a conversation you and I have had. I mean, Greg, you and I too, just not for a long time, but like how vitally important daily prayer and meditation is. Daily, and in my opinion, daily morning prayer and meditation. How vital it is to the success of our recovery, and how so underutilized it is by the people in recovery. Like, I can't tell you how many times, and I know you guys have experienced this too, how many times we hear, oh, I pray, but I don't meditate, or I probably should do it more, or I don't do it very often, or like it to me, and it is not some virtue of mine that I do it. It is just I am so committed to the discipline of it. Number one, because it's been working for many, many years now, and I don't want to really, I don't want to change too much on that front. But it was just drilled into me, and you know, the importance of daily prayer and meditation. I mean, I very rarely, even with the baby, I very rarely miss a day. I mean, really, really and truly, um, miss a day. And it wasn't always like that in my recovery. There were extended periods of time in my recovery where I didn't meditate that often. But I will say for a good many, many years now, um, the balance of the scales have been tipped far in the favor of having a daily practice of prayer and meditation than not. So that's that. I love the idea of going outside, Corey, and I think that being grounded, like walking around in the grass with my feet or just feeling the fresh air. I play a lot of golf, as it's known on this podcast. That is a form of just connection for me. It's not can't take the place of my meditation and all that, but it is a form of connection, or just being outside. The idea of having a good friendship group and good people around you, whether I see them often or not, but talking to a couple alcoholics and drug addicts per day, whether the sick and suffering ones, but also like the ones that are on the same wavelength as I am, or even a wavelength above that I aspire to be. Right, my sponsor are guys that have been sober a lot longer than me, and even some guys that haven't been sober longer than me, but are just like on fire for this thing. I think having those connections daily is good. I think having a good, honest, solid, hard day's work, whatever hard is a relative term. Obviously, I don't necessarily mean manual labor, but just a good, productive, like that is so satisfying to me. And I feel accomplished. I feel responsible. And I do feel a little closer to God just because I know that I'm providing for my family. I'm being good to my employer, and I'm doing what God would have me be, which is just be a good, human being. So, and then the three of us can get a little more intricate with that, like going to our recovery groups, working through the recovery literature with newer people or people that have been around a while, working the recovery literature ourselves, right? Going over that stuff ourselves, or learning something new in recovery. The service work we do, whether it's making coffee at one of these recovery groups, or taking out the trash, or taking it a step above and serving on I don't want to say a higher level because it's technically a lower level, but like on a different platform, in different entity and service related material in our recovery program. So yeah, I think those are good. And honestly, being busy, productively busy, gives me a sense of calm and peace, because it's like at the end of the day, like it's been a good day, right? I've accomplished something, so um
You know what else does, Shawn?
what's that?
And you said it, but it's within what you said. Um, Dude, like apologizing and like admitting when you're wrong daily, like seeking the opportunity to do that.
Yep. Yep.
No matter who or what or whatever.
Yep.
Like that stuff is quite literally keeping yourself away and moving yourself closer to God.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
I don't do it, but
it's hard. Yeah, well, we know. And it's a lot harder to admit we're wrong to someone we might dislike a little bit than to someone we do like, but it is much more rewarding at the end.
got a couple of those.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, next one. Two more. And they kind of go together, but I do think there's some significant differences. Corey, we'll come back to you. What role does faith play in your life, and how important is faith, Corey? Limp Bizkit said it, I think.
Well, George
Gotta
Michael
have
said it first, so
Oh, okay. My apologies. Thank you.
I mean it's everything, and it's like, ugh, it's when I'm not doing the stuff that we just talked about that keeps me close to God, is when my faith suffers and
waver.
And then I suffer, and everything suffers. And if God isn't everything, then he's nothing, right? and when God's nothing, it absolutely sucks, right?
It's just, yeah, it's a sad, sad state of reality when God is nothing.
Yeah, and like it's never like consciously that. Like I never sit there and say like, oh, there is no God. It's not like like we already covered. Like believed in God for a long time now. Even well before sobriety, I just wasn't doing business with him.
Right.
But it's when I act like God is nothing by making myself everything. It gets hard, and that's when Corey gets a little speck on his blood work, and it's the end of the absolute world. And like, even though 30 sane people are like, Corey, you're fine, I'm like doubting everything, right? So it's just so yeah, I mean, to answer the question, it's everything, and it's something to take care of. It's not something that I think we can just have either. Like, just stop drinking.
Right.
I can't.
Just have faith. That's
Just
all you
have
need
faith.
to do. Yeah.
Well,
How
that'd
do
be
I
nice.
do that?
Right.
How do I get it?
And like for us, like, God, if you think about it, we're lucky, aren't we? That like alcohol and drugs pushed us to the table of I got to try something else. And like,
Yeah.
in the desperation of that came hope that faith could work, right? And we kind of had it all laid out for us. So it was kind of beautiful for us and unfortunate for maybe people that don't suffer. But everybody suffers in some way. So there's always a reason to get to God, and that's just that. So
Experiential knowledge gives me faith. Greg, what do you think? How important is it? What role does it play in your life?
Well, I think that what we think about is what we create, right? You have to, like, the world's a great big huge scary place with all the things that we have to do in this life, right? We have to get a job, and we should get a good education, and we have to raise a family, and we have to pay the bills and pay the mortgage, and sometimes we got to buy new cars when our cars take a crap, and all the big scary things that life is made up of. And sometimes those are a lot more scary than just all that financial stuff that I just laid out. Sometimes you got a sick kid, or a kid that needs help, and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn. There's a lot of unknowns with it, and I find that with faith, having faith makes it easier, right? And it doesn't have to be specifically tied to religion, but a faith in a higher power, a faith that things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to work out, and they're going to work out in, if we're speaking and thinking what we want to create, right, in our lives, then those kind of things generally manifest. Sometimes not exactly in the way that we think or want them to, but they do, right? God provides, right? So I think that faith is the opposite of fear, right? And if I don't want to go through my life living fearful and looking over my shoulder and wondering about what could happen tomorrow, and if I'm going to lose everything I've built, if this is going to happen, if that's going to happen, if I'm going to get turned down for approval on a car that I want, or the home that I want, or, any one of the crazy little anxiety inducing things that we all have to go through, right? I have faith that things will work out the way that they're supposed to. And I just have to put in the action and the thought, So.
Right. Yeah, I thank you both for that. And we joked about it a little bit when Corey was sharing, but like, I didn't know how to have faith when I got sober. I had to be taught how to have faith. I had to have a specific and simple set of directions on how to attain faith, a practical guide to living, so to speak. And there were some, what I believe were some well-meaning people that were in the rooms of recovery that when I got here that would say stuff like, "Oh, you just got to have faith, Shawn. As long as you're gonna have faith." And like Corey said, it's like all you got to do is not drink. Just don't drink. And I'm like, yeah, if I could do any of that, I wouldn't need to be here. That was the thing. So plain and simple, I attained faith, uh, which I'll explain exactly what that means to us. But I attained faith through the work and practice of the recovery exercises that we do, right? The simple set of instructions, but very clear set of instructions that millions and millions of people in the world and the rooms of recovery have already blazed that path, right? It's not like this new formula that I have to come up with on my own because I'm extra sick or I'm extra dumb or I'm extra smart or whatever it is. It's been done by countless others, and the man that taught me how to go through these exercises has been through them as well. The difference between belief and faith, and I'll tell the quick little. I guess it's called an allegory. Is that accurate? Maybe,
Mhm.
but you move to a new town, you don't know anybody, but I start going to this coffee shop every single morning, and I run into this stupid Philadelphia Eagles fan named Corey. But he's there every day, same time as me. And we start talking very, very simple. We talk about sports, the game, the weather, you know, basic stuff. And I tell him that I'm new here. And I start to see Corey week in and week out every morning at this coffee shop. He's drinking something stupid like a soy venti, God forbid, something. And I'm just getting my black coffee. And my car breaks down, and I'm new in town still, and I don't know a good mechanic. And I say, Corey, I need a good mechanic, someone who's fast, reliable, fair, honest, all that good stuff. And Corey says, don't worry, dude, take it down to Dustin. Shout out to Dustin, who's a real person. He's great. He's my mechanic. I've been with him for years. I trust him implicitly. He's honest. He's quick. He'll get it back to you, all that stuff. He won't do anything you don't need. So I take my car to Dustin, not on faith, but on belief, on simple belief that Corey is not steering me wrong. I know I'm going out on a limb here, but that the man named Corey, the Eagles fan, is telling me the truth and is being straight up with me and not steering me wrong. I take my car to Dustin, and wouldn't you know it, it's quick, same day service, nothing more than I needed, cheaper than I thought. He's honest, everything that Corey said he would be. So now the next time my car breaks down, I now know I have faith. Faith means experiential knowledge. I have personal proof, personal experience based on the initial belief that Corey was telling the truth, that Dustin is a good mechanic. I now know in my heart, in my gut, I have personal experience with it, experiential knowledge, which is faith, that Dustin's a good mechanic. And it's the same way with our recovery, right? I get to the rooms. I don't know anything. I'm not even sure I want to be here. Definitely don't know if I want to be around you people. But I'm sick and suffering and I need help. And they say, if you do these spiritual exercises, we promise you'll feel better. And I start those spiritual exercises on nothing but the belief that you guys are telling me the truth, because I see Corey, I see Greg, I see Lyle, I see all those guys, and they're sober and they seem happy and they're lively and they have an energy and they just have a way about them, right? We can spot it. If you spot it, you got it. There's something about their eyes. And I go through these spiritual exercises on nothing but the belief, because I have nothing else to lose, because I've now burned every bridge. That is an important caveat. And I have nothing else to lose. I go through these spiritual exercises on the belief that you guys are telling me the truth. And wouldn't you know it, I start to feel better. I start to think better. I start to earn some money. I start to get a few things in my life. I start to make relationships. I start to have that calmness and that peace that we talked about in the previous question. I have a daily practice of prayer, whatever it is. I'm doing service. And not only all that, I want to be there. I want to do it. And now I know, I have experiential knowledge that these recovery exercises, these spiritual activities work. And I can't wait to keep doing them, because I can't wait to see what's next and what's around the corner. And then the best part happens. I get to teach them to somebody else. That's what faith is. Faith is the finished product of faith, so to speak, even though our faith personally is always growing and cultivating. But the finished product, so to speak, is when I turn around and I teach those spiritual exercises to somebody else, because I believe in them that much. that I now can say to them, if you do these, it will work for you. The same thing that was said to me. So, hell yeah, I'm fired up right now.
Let's do it.
I did have one more question, but I'm going to leave it because it can actually tie in better to the next time we do this. I don't know if we'll do this next week. We might. I do have more questions. I think we probably could, but sometime soon we have more questions. And the last one I had for tonight will actually be, the more I think about it, will be a very good starting question for the next set, the next segment, so to speak. So, closing thoughts, parting thoughts, boys. Any final comments? We still got a few minutes if you got anything.
Nope.
I love how you have a Bud Light shirt on too, Corey. I just noticed that.
I do have a Bud Light shirt on. Is it triggering you or?
I don't believe in triggers. Not in that way, Corey. Not in that sense of the term.
All right.
So I think you just like Shane Gillis, though.
I do like Shane Gillis.
I know, me too. I think we're gonna land this plane before we get off on that tangent.
No, I have 6 other things I want to talk about.
Fire away.
All right.
Corey, well, you can join Corey on our YouTube channel after this episode. He's going to go live.
What would you guys do if I just put up like 16 videos right, of me just going the fuck off about things?
I've thought about maybe not going off on things, but I've thought about it at
You guys
times.
are gonna
Like,
fucking listen.
It's like, you know what sucks about Josh Allen? Just go off for 30 minutes.
listen here, Democrats. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all social media or on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us, trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, comments to any of these handles. Remember, sincerely, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. We say good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. See you in week 2.